Here's the other half of the last mailbag, which went on a bit long. Let's get cutting. First one obviously got horribly burnt in the way over, so that's not good. Oh, that's unexpected. What is that? I'm guessing that's a free gift, which I'm sure I'll find use for. Good Lord. So it is, I think, a Raspberry Pi camera, because the Christmas puppies need looking at from time to time, and I have Raspberry Pis, but I did not have a camera for them. So that's it. And I think it's a bit of a wide one, this one too. So that'll allow me to see all the mischief that these guys get up to. Nah, that's not going to happen. And if they do get up to mischief, maybe this thing will find a use. Oh my God. Next. All of these are drop shipped, so I have no idea the original, whatever it is, the invoice or whatever they put on it has all been obliterated. Looks like transistors, and I think these are IRFs. The IRF7, yeah, sorry, the RFZ44N. Can we see that? Can we see that? Just IRFZ44N. But do they work? Let's see if I can find the little tester. If you don't have one of these, you need to get one of these. They are awesome. I've got one upstairs and one downstairs. That's how useful they are. And should be NPN. Oh, it's a MOSFET. A MOSFET I wasn't expecting. Oh, yes, it is a MOSFET. So it's a N-channel MOSFET, and look at the beautiful diagram and everything. It's got their gate, drain, source, and the stats there. I'm not sure what the stats are for the IRF Z44, but I'll check that out. Yep. And this one I got because just recently I was looking at building a circuit involving a soft starter, so I just needed some MOSFETs for that, and I had logic level ones, but didn't have higher voltage ones. So that's what that's about. You might hear chooks and blowflies. Sorry about that. That's life in Australia. All right, so let's see what this one is. Excuse the burnt and destroyed hands. It's been a bit of work lately with soldering and fencing and all sorts of stuff. This looks like a Raspberry Pi camera too. What? Okay, so maybe I went a little bit overboard on the whole Raspberry Pi camera business to keep the puppies safe. Let's have a look. If it'll come out. No, it's not keen. There it is. Shy little bugger. All right. Let's get it out of its other packaging. And it already has a cable. What? Okay, so someone misordered that one. Extra cables. I'll have to check the listing, whether or not, we would have to get the other one out. But this doesn't look like wide angle. It looks like standard fare for the Raspberry Pi. And yep, there's the connectors. So I'll hook that up and see if we can't get some good puppy vision out of it. Next. Right. What's this guy all about? More packaging. Well packaged. And we have... okay, so a couple of programmers for the ESP01 and 01S. Very, very handy devices. And particularly, and there's a couple of versions, so you need to be a little bit careful. I ordered ones originally that didn't have this handy dandy little switch on the back, and the switch says programming on this side and UART on this side. And that means that you can put into programming mode and throw it into the computer with the... do I have one? I do have one. Look at that. taking note of the arrow, and you throw that guy in there, and then throw it into the computer, and then the other switch, well, it's the same switch, the other side of that is that once it's programmed, you can just use this, plug it in for power. So yeah, very handy. May have even featured these on a Mailbag before, but I think I can only find one of these at the moment, and so I ordered a couple extra just in case, because I do tend to fry things from time to time or get lost or whatever.
2 hours later.
Next, and we've got little power adapter boards by the look of it. Let's get one out and have a closer look. So looking at it a little closer, we've got in, and I'm imagining that is a mini as well. That is a micro adapter, USB adapter on the end. So there's your input. We've got our out, ground and out VCC there. And then on the other side, we've got a battery minus and a battery positive. I think that's a TP4056 by the look of it. And the usual assortment of resistors and inductors and so forth. That should mean that this is probably an 18650 battery charger slash power module. So you could probably put this, and looks like a little, actually, yeah, what we've got here is an adjustment. So it's possible that's even a buck or boost circuit in there as well. I'm just going to have a look online and see what it says. 18650 battery, not fully charged, about 3.1 volts at the moment, and that's coming into the bottom of this module. Let's go to the other side and see what it is. So 3.3 volts, so a little bit of boost. Let's wind it up. This thing should go on. Oh, there's my hidden magnets. This thing should kick off at around about, I think, 15 or so volts. So let's try that. It's a little awkward for me to do it so you guys can see it as well, but let's see how we go. There it goes. Yeah, so I'm just winding this up. It's reasonably responsive. Nothing on, well, actually I can just see now a little bit of action there at 18, there we go, 19, 20, 24-ish volts. And I wonder what the current is. Let's get the multimeter hooked in current mode and see if we can't measure that. I think the claim is that it can push out around 2 amps from memory. This guy on voltage duty, this guy on current duty. Let's go, and it's full throttle, so it should still be around the 22-ish volts mark. Yep, 22 volts, and looks like 60 milliamps of current going through. So I think the next thing to do is to actually try this guy to see if he's going to be able to charge the 18650. So let's get that configuration going. I've got lots of cables and connectors here to try this. One of the problems I had to start with was trying to find an older 5 volt 1 amp style adapter, because a lot of my modern ones that I use, the 5 volt ones, are sort of like 2 or 3 amps for things like the Raspberry Pi. But this this old one from my old mobile phone is 1 amp and 5 volts, so that's good. And then what I want to do is, let's take that from there. I'll just plug that into the side. So that's got that plugged in. And I want to go through this guy. So this is in this way. So let's try that. Breaking quite a few USB protocols, please forgive me. And then we've got, that's awkward, back to front. Let's hopefully get this in. So let's connect it up and see what happens. Okay, so the let's just see that again. Try and zoom in actually a little bit to see what's going on. So 5.2 volts, 5.24 volts, and then as soon as I plug this one in, couple of things happen. We've got a little charging light that goes on the board. We're drawing 0.8 amps. Voltage drops to 4.64. And now we wait. We're a couple of minutes in, nothing much has happened, but I just thought that it might be useful to hook up the voltage as well so we can see that over time. Aiming for typical 18650 finish around the 4.2 mark. So you can see the time here. So this is time 1 minute. And there it goes, just clicked over to 2 minutes. So I'll be able to keep a track of that. I probably won't do like an overtime thing because, you know, that's pretty boring, but we'll come back in a few minutes time and see what's happening. We're 16 minutes in. The voltage has obviously risen up to 3.5 volts now. And as well as that, you can just see that the voltage here has come up and that the current is dropping down. So everything's proceeding according to plan, all controlled by this TP4056 controller, which is pretty typical on these boards. So one of the things which I'm curious about though is it going to explode? You know, are there any hot spots? What's happening? Now I don't have any fancy infrared camera equipment, but I do have this little digital thermometer which I use for things like, well, I have a wood fire and I can cook on top of that fire, but I need to know firstly, is the temperature high enough to cook but not too high to burn? So this is where I monitor that. So it's about 23, 24 degrees ambient at the moment, and I'm reading, yeah, 23.4 in here on the background. That's pretty good. Let's move it over to that controlling chip, and you can see that jump up to around the 30-degree mark. Pretty reasonable, really, so that's not going to burst into flames in a hurry. The rest of the board, yeah, it's elevated in places, but I'm not seeing any major problems, really, which is good. The battery is, I'll just move over the battery, 23, 24, nothing scary happening there. So that's pretty good. Back to the controlling chip. Not rising. As I said, yeah, what are we now? 18 minutes in. That's pretty reasonable. So we'll let that go and we'll just continue to monitor it. Two hours and 12 minutes in. And this is a very, very slow process. I'm actually wondering whether I maybe shouldn't use a charger that's got a higher current rating than just 1 amp. But anyway, look, it's an interesting process and it is working. Let's just hang in there and see it through. Getting close to 4 hours and not far away now, but you know, there's only so much excitement you can handle in one session, so I might call it a day there. And yeah, let's move on. That is the mailbag for the week, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.